Podcast City.
Get on it.
Podcast City.
Get on it.
Bang! What's happening? We are ready for Corona Chaos, episode 11. Man, oh man, I'll tell you what. This Corona is a formidable opponent to your sanity. Let's just, you know what I mean? It may be overblown. It may be just like another flu, or it may be what others are saying and much more extreme than that. You know, who knows? But as an opponent, meaning combating the virus itself, medically, physically, in your cabeza, how it affects your mental health, the people around you, the quarantine restrictions, the sheltering in place, the corona mania, all of it combined is a handful. And President Trump says today, okay, that medical statistics are showing him that addiction, alcoholism, mental health issues, domestic violence, diabetes, heart disease, and suicide rates are all on a sharp uptick. And I am not surprised.
One time I'll be in agreement with him. Time where I won't quit.
Well, it wasn't his opinion. He was quoting facts. I guess they had a meeting with the governors today, and I guess it went relatively well, which is good because they need to get along. Because the last thing we need is them to pissing on each other in court.
Yeah, that's
in Supreme Court. That's the last thing. That's the last thing this country needs. But I guess they had a good meeting today. Okay, and. You know, they got they're all on the same page for the most part. And Trump is going to defer to the governors unless he sees some outrageous type stuff where, you know, he's going to use his power, and it is significant power, to try to intervene with that. There's ways around some of the constitutional protections of the states, but we're not going to get into all of that minutia and bore you today. But he has said, you know, he says, listen, years from now, the effects from this corona, you know, may be astronomical when it comes to like the suicide rate, heart disease, diabetes, mental health, domestic violence, addiction, alcoholism, maybe throw in divorce in there, maybe throw in situations that have happened in this that families haven't recovered from. I think that's very real. I think the secondary effects, not from the virus, but the responses from the virus are very real, Keith.
Oh, yeah. I mean, keeping people cooped up and all this, I mean, things happen.
Yeah.
I mean, before this, I was out of the house 8-10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And in that time,
Sure.
there's stuff that can happen in the house. It's like,
let me ask my fellas over there. My man Milton. What are the other characters over there? We got Fabio. You were supposed to be Fabio.
I got Fabio and Steve over here.
That's right.
Smoggy.
Steve's the man.
Yeah.
Smoggy. Are people meant to be in the house with each other all the time?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
That's why.
Yeah, I don't think so.
not meant to be. Absolutely not.
You know, like healthy time away is good for the husband and wife, and I think good for the family, right?
True.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
We also need quality time too.
We need quality time together. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I have that quality time with my family on Sundays. Okay, and you know, that's priceless. But healthy time away is good. And when Trump talks about addiction rate skyrocketing, alcoholism skyrocketing, domestic violence, mental health issues, diabetes, I believe him. Because because people are on top of one another, getting on one another's nerves, looking for escapes, right?
Not getting any.
Not getting any exercise, and losing their fucking minds. And that's why they want to kill themselves. I feel you. I agree with this. Now, does it trump the 32,186 deaths in this country from corona? No. But what are the long-term tallies going to look like? These issues, the addiction, mental health, diabetes, health issues, mental health issues.
Yeah, the legacy of this, when all is said and done, is not going to be the numbers of people who died or whatever. It's going to be the lives that were ruined for the people who are left behind.
And those lives ruined being small business owners and business owners and people laid off throughout the country because of this. You know what I mean? The only statistics, Keith, you said, and I think this is what you meant, said, I think you're right on the money, aren't going to be, the only thing the statistics aren't going to be about people who got infected, people who got the virus, and people who died. People who lost their businesses, people who got divorced, people whose health hasn't been right, people whose addiction and mental health struggles have intensified. That's going to have to be part of the tally too, if you want the total ramifications and consequences from this. Would I keep the social distancing? As much as I hate to say it, I would for another month. And they're talking about a May 14th day. Why is May 14th so special? Did you see that day in any research?
Yeah, May 15th, which actually happens to be my birthday.
Oh, don't tell me we go out and drink.
Maybe.
Oh, please forgive me.
Might need to. But May 15th, May 1st was the original deadline, I believe they set.
But May 4th is like the next deadline they threw out there for easing of social restrictions, correct?
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if maybe they just said, all right, well, give it another 10 days because you don't want it, because they're probably at the point now you don't want to stop pushing a panic button and making it June 1st, July 1st. You can't, so now they're at the point maybe you just got to go small increments as you get closer to your deadline and then assess.
Well, they're talking for a reopening, a small phase 1 reopening on May 14th.
Yes, because May 4th was the original time, and apparently they don't think we can meet that.
Okay. Phase 1 reopening of America. Okay. President Trump says this: all vulnerable people should shelter in place. Everybody agree with that? Aye. Come on, give it to me. Aye.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
I agree. How about Stoogie? Everything okay? We got unanimous over there. When in public, individuals should maintain social distancing and no meetings over 10 people. Do we agree with that?
Right now, absolutely.
I'm going to give it a yes, but like a 60%, 70% yes. And minimize non-essential travel. We agree with that? I think we can all agree with that. Now, the new normal. All right, the new normal. This is before 2021. Is going to be staggered school days and small class sizes. So this is like September. This is like, well, it's actually going to go into September for the school year, but this is what this is going to lead to until 2021, where they're going to. That's the long number, right? That's the number that you were absolutely correct about when you talked about, the NFL season, the pro sports season not starting, because the governors of L.A. and New York City have said they are going to forbid the things, and it looks like that we agree with them because they put out the new normal: disposable menus and mass service and reduced capacities in restaurants. I do not like that one. I don't want to wait on me with the mask, okay? And I don't want to go sit in a restaurant with hardly anybody there, But what are you going to do? Empty stadiums, empty concert halls. How about this one? Higher government involvement in tracking your locations and your personal health information.
That's
No.
like taking your freedom.
Not necessarily your freedom, but it's watching you. It's Big Brother. You know what I mean? See, that I have a little problem with too.
I do too.
As someone who works in the medical transportation field, two people get in the car, and before I get to the second person, one's telling me, I'm going in, I got to get this done, da-da-da. And then the next person gets in the car, I can't bring that up. So it's like, I don't like the idea of somebody else just being able, because of HIPAA, Health Insurance Patient Protection Act, I don't like the idea of, I can't talk about something that somebody told me, but hey, they can go look into it on their own.
Exactly.
Well,
That's crazy.
but look it up. There's a whole a section on it online today, and they say a lot changes in travel patterns and limited travel still, and face mask will be an everyday accessory for the American public. I'm not so sure I agree with that either.
No.
So there's 3 out of the 6 I'm iffy about. And don't get me wrong. These are projections that when this is what doctors and experts are saying. Okay? In not a response to, but in conjunction with the reopening of America.
Yep, and this, like I said, that's based on, this is what's in front of them now. Could that change?
Yeah.
I mean, originally they were projecting upwards of between 100,000 and 200,000.
240,000 was the highest number I heard.
As of right now, it doesn't look like we're going to hit that. I mean,
No.
as far as when his taps off, after this tape is off, and you have people complications 6-8 months from now, that's a different story. That goes, but I don't think you're going to hit that 100,000. I said between 60 and 80.
Well, I said 60 far before you said 60.
Yeah, when the last time when we asked.
I'm going to give you credit. You were right on the money when it came to how they're going to react to the opening up of sports seasons and concerts and everything. That I said you were crazy, but it looks now like you were going to be right. But the death totals we had lined up from that, I think it was episode 5 or 4, where we had just said that the models didn't really necessarily match up. Let's talk about numbers, okay? World numbers. 145,329 people have died out of 2,178,149 cases. In the USA, 658,263 cases. So the United States has more than 25% of the world's cases,
Yes.
which
Another 50% coming out of Europe.
is something to be. 32,186 dead out of 658,000 in the USA. In mass, 32,000 cases, 1,245 deaths, and 137 people died this week. Okay? And in Fall River, we have 182 cases and 3 deaths. So,
And of all those numbers, the scariest one is 329 million people in the United States. Only 3 million people have even tested one way or the other. So that's
Sure.
and that's because some can be apprehensiveness, some can be lack of access to the test.
Trump was much better at his President Trump was much better at his press conference today because he seemed to stay on script. That it's probably his daughter and his son-in-law and people closest to him tried to get him to stay on because I think the only way he's going to get beat is if he does the stuff if he continues to do the stuff that he did continues to do the stuff that he did yesterday at the press conference and all this nonsense about talking about himself and
Yeah, and
turning it
taking
into a
politics out of it, you
turning
tune
it into a political rally. But today his press conference was a little different.
Yeah, because I mean, you tune into these things because you want to find out where we're at.
No, I
Not to
tuned
see-
into him because I want to see Trump go at it with the press.
Well, I was going to say, the majority of the people
I hear ya.
don't want to see it. They want to find out what's going on.
I
instead of-
got that, but I got that on my computer, so I'm watching it and I do take notes, but I just shake my head and say, "This is crazy. It's crazy."
where we're at.
I've never seen a president act that way,
Me either. But
but. You know, and then in typical CNN form, which pissed me off today, throughout half his press conference, they had breaking news, U.S. death total over 32,000. And they kept it there. They kept like the breaking news like over the press conference. Like, oh my God. Man, oh man, back to your corners. No. The press and the politicians go back to your corners and readjust and reevaluate and remember why you're here. Politicians, remember this. The oath that you take isn't to your president, and it's not to Congress, and it's not to fellow Republicans. It is to the United States of America, its health and well-being. That's what your oath is. Remember that. And the media, stop reporting on stuff like this, whether it's weather, fire, or pandemics, like it's a sporting event. Stop it. Stop the rivalry tone. Stop it's crazy. Now, has situations created it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But as difficult as their job is, the guy with the iron chair, with the seal in front of him, who's the most powerful person in the world, whether you like it or not, okay? Whether you like it or not, he is. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. There's lots and lots of pressure on that end, too. So this banging, bang, 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 bang. It's crazy. But maybe it's what they're supposed to do. Maybe it is the checks and balances that our press was giving to in the Constitution. Maybe those great guys who wrote that Constitution foresee this and says, the press is going to be part of the checks and balances of this system, and that's what it's going to be.
'cause I've never seen the job of the press to take sides. It's to report the news. That's it. And
But during Trump, more of them have press taking sides. Would you agree with that?
yes, and he's pretty much made more. He's flat out provoked.
Absolutely.
Brought it on himself more than
yeah.
anyone else.
Sure. But I think it's their responsibility to be better. That's my opinion. So we have the phase 1 opening of America. When is that going into place? Do we have any data on when that's going to go into place? The phase 1. They're rolling it out tomorrow, I believe, right? In detail.
Yeah, they put together a panel.
Yeah.
And, but other than that,
Yeah, and Vince McMahon is on the economy thing.
What is he doing? What is he doing?
McMahon! Who remembers the Grand Wizard? Who remembers the Grand Wizard?
remember him.
You remember McMahon! Who do you think you're talking to? Do you remember the Grand Wizard?
oh yeah,
Okay. Certainly a unbelievable business guy. Is it a guy I want at a table in charge of turning the economy around? I'm not so sure. Why? Because I've done a lot of research on Vince McMahon. And you know what they all say about him? His haters and the people who love and swear by him. They say he is interested in nothing else in this world other than his family and professional wrestling. That he is essentially oblivious to anything that's going on in the world around him. Okay? And this is from his proponents and opponents saying this. I'm not sure if that's the recipe. I think you have to have a little bit of a national interest, understand certain parts of other parts of the country. I don't know. I know, but he's going to be on. He's going to be on there. And his wife, Linda, was the head of the small business
She was the head of the
for
Small
about a year
Business
under
Administration.
Trump.
Yeah, she was.
Did they get into a beef when they left? Probably not, because he wouldn't be putting Vince there.
No, that's a lot of those cabinet positions. They're just kind of like a revolving door. It's like, all right, I'll do it for outside of Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. Most of them are just okay.
Well, no. Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense is serious business.
That's what I'm saying. Outside of them,
yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of just all right. People do it for a 2 year till the midterm.
Secretary, is that how it goes?
No, I mean, there's some that have served the whole.
It's probably a drastic pay cut for her too, right? I would think.
Oh, correct. No, absolutely.
Don't you have to, if you serve as a department secretary, don't you have to give up your financial holdings? Does anybody know this? I believe that you have to put them in what's called the blind trust. Is that true or not?
Stocks, yeah, they've been. Turns out, these days the laws don't seem to apply. I mean, we got
Okay, but what do the rules say?
I believe you got to report all your income.
Report all your income, and I believe it goes into a blind trust, correct?
You got to turn in stuff that's potentially a conflict of interest, and then that would have to get put in.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if owning a rest, but
I believe George Bush's stuff had to go in a blind trust. You know what I mean? I'm not sure, but it's tough not to make money when you're president, for sure. What do you think about these people in Michigan protesting? They look like a bunch of hillbillies. They look like they like sleep with their guns and like run around killing baby deer. But they're protesting, and they went to the Capitol and the steps of things saying, and you know what they were protesting?
the quarantine.
Mandatory stay at home.
Yeah.
It was well within our right to protest. However, when there's an emergency order, doesn't that supersede your right to
Yes.
protest?
And it's hard to, and it's almost hard to like look at that with a straight face if you're an elected official and say this is a violation because it's a protest of the government. But
Yeah.
if that is it essential to
Should they be allowed to rush the Capitol and wreak havoc and clog up traffic? Should their rights to protest supersede this emergency act? Let's go down the line right now.
comes down to your right to be a horse's ass ends
Sure.
when it infringes on someone else's safety. Somebody else's in the group.
So, yeah. And
else's
that
well-being.
means
This
that
is
stands
crossing
in
the
field.
line.
That means that's it. Okay,
is
good.
crossing the line.
Shrunk said, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I flip a coin back and forth, man.
Yeah.
Like
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You citizens are allowed the right to protest. If you can be for Colin Kaepernick, then you got to stand with these hillbillies on them steps. Then you got to stand with the gun owners, and you got to stand with the right for the KKK to protest at the Boston parade. That right of expression, that freedom to protest, it can't just cover what you like and you like and you like. It's got to cover everything because it is tested and valued and proven and hardened and strengthened when assholes like the KKK and all these people use their right to protest, and it is upheld as it should be. Okay? As it should be. As much as it makes me sick, as much as it makes me puke, that flag, okay, more than anything, stands for unalienable rights. To protest, to live, to do the things that we take for granted that people in most countries don't. You know? So you can't go cherry picking.
Like I said, and I don't.
However, you made a very good point, Keith, because if there are times when you can't protest, it is during national emergency type situations.
And
that's the rub. Go ahead, Miller. Go ahead.
But if they're protesting about staying home, then why are they out in the streets?
No, because they don't want to be. Their protest is saying, blank you, I'm not staying home. I don't care if you arrest me. It's my right in this country to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So your stay-at-home order can get this.
It's crazy.
You know, they're doing it, and they blocked up traffic in downtown, right? I believe that they did.
I opposed it a few years back in Boston when they pulled the same stuff. As someone who's helped organize strikes, that was amateur hour. and I oppose that too. So this is the same similar.
Now, do you oppose Colin Kaepernick?
No, I don't.
Okay,
And when
but how can you cherry pick it?
Because when Colin Kaepernick did that, first of all, it wasn't interfering with anything.
You're right.
It wasn't,
You're right. You're right.
Outside of pissing off a handful of people, Colin Kaepernick didn't. What he was doing didn't
Pissed
hurt
off.
anybody.
What you say? A handful? Yeah, well, a handful next door to him. Pissed off everybody. I thought he was the wrong guy to do it, but again, I respect what that flag ultimately stands for. That we live in a country so free that we can burn that flag. Try burning the Chinese flag in Tiananmen Square. I told you about my brother who played basketball in China, right? Who broke Yao Ming's record. He was like this with his driver, okay, and his advisor. He had two people with him at all times. They lived across the hall from him, okay? They were his guys. That's what China does to you. And they call it, they body you. Same people with two guys. But they give you enough space to live. My mother asked him, so take me to Tiananmen Square. They says, what are you talking about, Chris? He's like, cut this shit. Take me to Tiananmen Square. Chris, we don't know what you're talking about. Take me to Tiananmen Square, because the car's bugged. Everything's, you know what I mean? Take me to Tiananmen Square. What are you talking about? He goes, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the fucking tank and the guy with the fucking protest thing and the guy that got run over and killed. It was one of the most famous pictures in the history of the world. Where the fuck is Tiananmen Square? But that's how they live, you know? So sometimes we have to eat a little shit in our own personal interest and opinions to maintain that standard, right?
Yes.
And that's when it's best tested.
As long as it's not causing an immediate danger.
As long as it's not causing but let me ask you a question, my man. Were they causing an immediate danger? Were they causing immediate danger yesterday? What they did in
Here's the thing: when it comes to protesting,
Yeah.
it's supposed to remain peaceful.
Sure.
That's your right. You have the right to protest and express your opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that should be upheld.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when you're causing immediate danger,
Yeah.
which is being too close to the person next to you, because you could be infected and not know it.
Sure. Yeah. No, I hear you.
14 days before you've been.
International emergency. They're holding up traffic. What if somebody needs to get with an ambulance during a medical emergency? What if there's an accident and that overloads the hospital? That doesn't. You go on and on about this. I think the key word. I think what you said is right in dating other people, and I think what you said is right. It is a just argument. What you're saying in a time of emergency, because I think both your things fit together. Nobody gets hurt, and it's a time of emergency. The last thing we need is a massacre, physical confrontation on the steps of the Capitol in Michigan, and 20 people go into the hospital. Mm-hmm. The last thing we need is traffic bottlenecked. You know what I mean? The last thing we need is people on top of people on top of people during this mess. So if there was ever a time to challenge a protest, I'm feeling you and I'm feeling you, I say, yes, I do challenge it. The validity. Just because of the times. But if they wanted to do this 3 months from now and 6 months ago and were denied still, I'd have a problem with it. So I'm gonna give the special interests of the country and the state and the health, I'm gonna give them the nod over the Constitution. Just
If this wasn't during a public health issue, this wouldn't be an issue.
There you go. Bang. There you go. There you go. Hey, does anybody know where we can get tested around here? Can somebody Google me this, one of the guys in the back, or somebody tell me where you can get tested? Because Trump keeps talking about testing, and the last guy I talked to was a kid that we were talking to, and he said he went to get tested in Lowell.
Well, I don't think Mass even has enough medical supplies.
They don't.
They don't. That's why the Baker administration now is trying to ask for an 800
For tests, the people they're looking for tests, right?
for tests. Yeah.
But I was told there was a test in Lowell. Is that true?
I'm not sure about that one now.
Can we look it up here? Where can people go in mass for testing if they think they have it? Because that's something I don't know. So there can't be enough of it. Like if we're serious, like we talked about self-scouting, we talked about it a lot, but how we're going to change, how we're going to change, okay, for the next time and get better. Okay, we need more ventilators. We need more portable housing beds. Oh, we need to be faster, more flexible, more agile, reacting better, being able to be more mobile, being able to move and get to places. Well, what you would think is you should have these tests, and on your computer, right, it should pop up. Okay, you are located in Fall River, Mass. Is that correct? Yes. If you have any questions, press this button. If you want to get tested, go here. Right? Like, the government's already... What does that say, my man? Rhode Island will not be able to get test results. It was not CVS stepping up. Parent from Rhode Island. National headquarters of Rhode Island. That is awesome. Tests are free. And they're going to do 1,000 a day. That's not enough. Good for CVS. Good for CVS. Hey, Gina Raimondo's getting a little crazy, for the record.
Yep. I was found Morton Hospital in Taunton. They're on the list of places you can go.
You go and get tested in Taunton?
Pulled up a site on the, I believe it was on the Mass.
Yeah.
Frequently asked questions, mass.gov, and then it pulled you up to a site where you
And
can
let me tell you something, like I do every time I watch something, feel free to double check this show. Because we're not right all the time. Who the hell is? But we try, we come with lots of notes, and we try to get you the right stuff. But we might do it the right way all the time. So Taunton and CVS, see, that is an unbelievable example of public-private partnership. CVS, national headquarters in Rhode Island, correct?
Woonsocket, I believe.
Okay, that is fantastic that they have stepped up to the plate. Okay, and they have done this. I think that for Rhode Island, I think that's great, but it needs to be more than 1,000. Tiverton has 16,000 people alone, so it's going to, it's going to be more than that. It's going to be 10,000 a day, 5,000 a day, whatever it is. Here we go. Gina Raimondo. There's two parts of this problem. I went off on some hillbilly from Tiverton the other day on Facebook. Did you see that at all? Apparently, a city councilor or a council person from Tiverton said, I'm starting to really think about the problem of people from Fall River with mass plates, coming to Grinnell's Beach. And I'm like, what? Now you throw that with Gina Raimondo being mentioned in press trunks conference, and he had the quote on CNN saying that she thinks that traveling residents from New York and Massachusetts are the reason why there's people infected with corona in Rhode Island. That's a reach. She was the first governor talking about bringing the National Guard. You're going to be very careful about bringing the National Guard up. To do checkpoints at state lines? Aren't we guaranteed the right for interstate commerce? I believe, too.
Yes.
Like, isn't that a little crazy? Like, when did Gina Raimondo turn into G.I. Gina? Like, she's acting like she's G.I. Joe all of a sudden. And then you got this guy from Tiverton talking crazy, and I says, whoa, and everybody's saying, yeah, trash, forward trash, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, hold up for a second. Okay? People from Fall River are easing your tax base, keeping that shitty-ass casino of yours alive. And if there's a mass shooting are a huge problem at that casino, trust and believe it's going to be for a police department that's going to handle and deal with that. Okay? And if the place catches on fire,
Fall River Fire Department are the first ones called.
okay, because of we have a mutual aid agreement. And we respond to their fire. Does Tiverton pay us extra for doing that? No. Would Little Compton pay us extra? No. No. It's part of a mutual aid agreement. If it wasn't for our water, they wouldn't have the casino.
And when somebody is
So
rushed out of there-
so slow you roll. And I said it. And then I had like 7 firefighters and like 10 people like comment on it and say, you know, I hear you.
and when someone is rushed to the hospital in Tiverton and
Yeah, no
Portsmouth,
yeah, please.
where they
going?
Warren, where they going? To Charlton Memorial.
Absolutely. So of course they are. Of course they are. You know, so Gina Raimondo kind of set the tone. And when I saw that today, she's supposed to be a liberal progressive. And I saw that today, and I'm looking, yesterday, I'm looking at it saying, man, what's going on? You know, I mean, there is enough conflict. Like, she wants to create conflict through Northeast corridor states now? That's crazy. And you know something? If you're little Rhode Island, it's easy to blame big bad New York and big bad Boston and people of color driving through your communities, spreading diseases and littering and doing all this stuff. Fuck you, Gina. Okay? Come on, man. Be better. Be above it. Don't contribute to this division that we're divided in which news channels we watch. We're divided where we live in this country. We're divided from political parties. We're divided by abortion. We're divided by gun rights. Now we're going to be divided by where we can and can't go. I mean, throw another thing of gas on the fire. There you go. Let me spark some more shit. Boom, boom, boom. No, you got to be better than that. That's not acceptable to me. That's not acceptable to me at all. New York, speaking of New York, they have a stay-at-home order until May 15th. That is the date. I'm hearing it again. Let me tell you right now. Call your girl. Ask her around a year and tell her she's going to host a party. If social restrictions get lifted and you can have 50 people again, I am going to throw you a birthday bash of all birthday bashes right in this studio right now. We will, the house burn, let the mother burn. All right, we will burn this place down. We will give Billy's one last great ride for your birthday if May 15th is the day. Here's something else I thought was pretty funny. Let me not be so serious, okay? Dating. Now, I used to love Sanjay Gupta on CNN. I thought it was a different look, Indian dude. I liked it, the diversity. He was bright, he was articulate, great for TV. I haven't really liked a lot of the stuff he's done for the Corona thing. I think he's added fuel to the flame. He's exaggerated. And I got to watch this. Apparently, Sanjay Gupta is going to teach us how to date, go on dates, and maintain social distancing. I swear to God, okay? Look on CNN, the front page. I guarantee it's there. Sanjay Gupta is going to tell us how to date 6 feet apart. Well, that's going to be very, very difficult to do for most. I mean, how do we pull that off? Do we blow kisses? Honey, am I getting laid tonight? Ooh, I'm going to give you a special swirl kiss. Like, I mean, what are we going to do? Honey, come on, it's that time, every so-and-so, you got to take care of me, we got this agreement, Oh, it's date night tonight, what are we going to do? We're going to, watch soft porn 6 feet away from the other, or get drunk and, roll the champagne bottle down. I mean, how are we going to handle that, Keith? I mean, I can figure a lot of things out, but I can't figure that out. Oh, honey, here, you want the popcorn at the movies? Let me like tie it up and throw it to you 10 feet away. I don't know. I mean, how do you date 6 feet away? Or should that even be an important thing to discuss? I don't know. And is Sanjay Gupta married? Or does he have any kids? I mean, what is he doing talking about dating? He ain't Dr. Phil. Or is he Dr. Ruth? Remember her? The Jewish women talk. I
remember her.
Give your husband a blowjob every once in a while.
Married and has 3 daughters.
All right.
So
did he say? Did you say about his? Do Google Sanjay Gupta go dating? Dating 6 feet apart, or dating with social restrictions, or whatever it was. I thought that was interesting to see too.
yeah, he's going to be doing a podcast April 16th, which is today. So,
About what? What's he saying about what?
there's,
I told you I wasn't wrong. I told you I was right. Go ahead.
dating at a distance. That's what it's called.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, deepest creepers. I don't know. Until they create some type of immaculate conception where you can get your girl pregnant from 6 feet away, or until they increase some chemical that provides this natural smell and beauty and intensity that only a woman can give you having sex, okay? I'm not interested in social distance dating. Milton, are you? Are you? No shit. Okay, here we go. I want everybody to be honest here. It's very important. I have in front of me, can I get a drum roll? Not bad. We're on to something. Signs of the coronavirus. And everybody's going to be honest. Okay, everybody's going to be honest in this room. Number 1, shortness of breath. Anybody have any shortness of breath here?
Sometimes.
I'm going to go half.
No.
Fever.
No.
No. Dry cough. A dry cough is a cough, not a smoker's cough, a cough that comes from inside of you. Do you know what kind of cough they're talking about?
I have no idea.
They said it's a different kind of cough, a cough that comes from your inner body. Well, my cough is because I'm smoking grass and smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what comes from me.
Maybe.
So I'm gonna give myself a half yes. Half yes on half check mark on that, and have it on red cross. Chills, no. Body aches, no. Any chills or body aches?
Nope.
Other than, but let me ask you a question. What if you're a smoker? Or what if you're a lazy cat who wants to lie around on it? Of course, what if you're out of shape? You know what I mean? You know, sudden confusion. We got any of that?
Nope.
Nothing more than intuitive stupidity, but no, we don't got that. Digestive issues, no. Pink eye, no. Loss of smell and taste, no. Fatigue, no. And headache, sore throat, congestion. I don't have a headache. I don't have a sore throat. I am congested, but I'm congested naturally because of my deviated septum. So I'm going to say I got 3 half checks out of 10. Should I go to Taunton right now? What do you think? Are we good?
Yes, you're good.
How many? Did anybody want to admit to what they have?
I'm good. 100%.
Yeah, sure. We're all affected in this place. Who the hell we bullshitting? Okay, go to my notes. Oh, last thing. What are we doing? And I'm going to thank my buddy over here because he makes it happen. What are we doing to stay sane during the sheltering ban? I know what I'm doing. Walking is working for me. How many times have I told you that, Milt? Walking that boardwalk is working for me. I woke up to I was up working until about 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up around 11:30. I'm like, I'm gonna chill, and then I'm gonna call Keith to see if we're gonna walk. And I told him I wasn't going to because I need my hip replaced. But it warmed up fine. It was good. It's working for me. And this is important because what's working you in these times, you got to ride it. You got to ride it. I want to get a little bit of weights in here. I want like 5-pound dumbbells and 10-pound dumbbells. Real light stuff. Just to keep it. What else could we use in here? Aside of parade of,
Music.
it's like a Hooters convention or something. Music, we definitely need music. And we have that capability too, Tusanos. The walk-in working for you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's out, clears your head, get some fresh air, what little you get.
Yeah. And plus, we're talking and walking because we'll talk 2 dogs off a meat wagon, but it goes by real quick.
Yes.
It does it, And it's enough walk where, it's over 2.5 miles, so it's...
Like they say, walking is actually
better
great
for you. Yeah, of course it
yeah.
is. And I think it's the combination of being near the water.
That helps too.
I think because of all the water we have in our bodies, I think it's a natural gravitation. It is somewhat peaceful, and you get the salt water, the effect in the wind. It's helpful. Just do me a favor. Please respect that. We saw blue gloves while we're walking today. Dog defecation on the board. But clean that up, man. That's shared by everybody. You know what I mean? It's funny, but something like that, I think, should be maintained at a high level. Speaking of maintaining at a high level, try to do the things that give you peace and serenity during these difficult times. You can always call. Listen. One thing about us, right? We're up late. We're working. We have a working studio. Mike Herron Facebook, I'm on that all the time. I'm on it most of the time working, some of the time socially, and some of the time just for white noise in the background, like you talked about. You know what I mean? But if you are struggling, you pick up the social media. Hit us up on social media. You get us from the 4 of a Beat, from Podcast City, from me, Mike Herron, and for all the cast and crew. You're not alone out there. I'll give you my phone number. We can talk for 10 or 15 minutes. Talk about some of the struggles we're all sharing here. One thing that Chris Como said, the virus inside of you that wants to win, wants you to quit, wants you to lay down, wants you to surrender, okay? Don't let it. Fight back. Get up, exercise, start living, and start winning. From me to you and to all the dudes around me, I got nothing but love. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Peace.
Podcast City.
Get on it.
Podcast City. Hurricane.
Get on it. Wait a minute.
Podcast City.
Get on it.
Podcast City.